everyone, and welcome to another custom figure showcase, and the first, or what I have decided is the first at my time of recording, in the First Doctor's custom series. And today we're looking at a custom that is born of an unreleased prototype, and I'm going to put a picture of the prototype up on screen now. It is of course a Richard Hurndall First Doctor. Now, why wasn't this produced? Well, in a way it was, but not how you see it here, because you see we got a 5 Doctors First Doctor with the 11 Doctors box set, and that is originally where the Richard Hurndall figure was due to be released. However, for reasons unknown, before it was produced, the Richard Hurndall head was swapped out for a William Hartnell head, so we still got a First Doctor from the 5 Doctors, but with a William Hartnell head rather than a Richard Hurndall head. Now, reasons for this are a little bit unclear, but what I have been able to gather, as is often seems to be an issue with other character options figures, it was due to use of likeness that the Richard Hurndall figure was, or at least the Richard Hurndall head, was not produced for sale. So we did get the figure, but not the Richard Hurndall one. But for that reason, I thought it would be the perfect figure to make as a custom. So what I've done for this is, overall, the base of this is just the standard standard 5 Doctors First Doctor figure. It's a bit of a mouthful. But I've used the same base figure from the 11 Doctors box set, but I have made some overall changes, which I'm going to take you through now. So, first of all, I've painted the trousers a slightly darker grey, literally just to make them look a bit closer to what they were on screen. The hands are from a Connor Primeval figure, which I've just repainted the skin to match the skin tone of the head, and also just repainted the hands a bit grey. The coat itself I have extended down the back, because the coat that Richard Hurndall wears does look a little bit longer on him than it did on William Hartnell. I'm not entirely sure whether it's the original prop or not. It could be, but I would guess it's not, as it does look a lot longer. But for that reason I thought I would re-sculpt the coat just to make it look that little bit longer. And of course the head, which I will bring you all onto now. I'm very pleased with this. Now, this is actually a Series 3 Time Lord head, and then the hair has just been completely sculpted on. Obviously it's not an exact match for Richard Hurndall, but when you look at Richard Hurndall's portrayal of the First Doctor, and then you look at the pictures of him before he appeared in that, or after he appeared in that, where he doesn't have the wig on, the wig actually makes Richard Hurndall's head look his face look very round, whereas if you see him without the wig, his face is quite sort of sallow and quite thin. So for that reason, it seemed like this was actually quite a good basis to use for Richard Hurndall's head, because it really does sort of look like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but the hairpiece really does sort of make the head look and the face look a lot more rounded. So I think it worked out very well in terms of making it look like the actual sort of look of Richard Hurndall. I think it's worked very well. It's a bit of a shame that we never got the official figure. Given the fact that the 11 Doctors box set was released so long ago, I think it's highly unlikely that we will ever see it. But what would be nice to see one day would be the Richard Hurndall figure released alongside a re-release of just any William Hartnell figure, and then also a new version with a David Bradley head sculpt from Twice Upon a Time, a sort of first B&M First Doctor's box set, if you like. As I said, very unlikely to happen because it was so long ago. I think it has sort of, obviously, whatever happened, the reason they didn't release Richard Hurndall's likeness is obviously well far gone. That's what's happened now. I still hold out a bit of a hope for a David Bradley head sculpt, but I think it's unlikely. Which I will just bring on very quickly now, because now I've made this one, I'm sure some people are going to say you should do a David Bradley one. I obviously have done, those of you who haven't seen it, it's under my Life in the Workshop playlist, I did a First Doctor from Twice Upon a Time using a William Hartnell head sculpt. And when I did that, originally I did want to use a David Bradley head sculpt, but the problem was there were no sort of good scale figures of Filch, who he played in the Harry Potter films, to use as a head sculpt. So I had to look through my spares and decide what best suited, or what best looked like a David Bradley head. And the bottom line, the bottom line was that the best head sculpt was, in fact, William Hartnell's. Which is a tribute to David Bradley. It shows how well he played the character, how much he looked like the character. But that's the reason why I haven't done, and probably not going to do, a David Bradley version, unless at some point there is a 4.5 to 6 inch Argus Filch figure available. Obviously, a 375. Anything under 4.5 inches is not going to be the right scale. 4.5 inches may even be pushing it. So. But anything from a 4.5, okay, let's say anything from a 5 to a 6 inch scale figure of Argus Filch, then absolutely I will redo that version with an Argus Filch, with a David Bradley head. But unfortunately there isn't one, so don't expect to see a David Bradley First Doctor, or at least a David Bradley with a First Doctor with a David Bradley head sculpt. I've already done the First Doctor in Twice Upon a Time. I'm happy with that. Yes, it's a William Hartnell head, it's not a David Bradley head, but it still looks the part. So don't expect to see a David Bradley First Doctor from me anytime soon. But that brings to a close another custom figure showcase, and the first in my The First Doctors series. As always, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot, and be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. I'm doing my very first figure animation, and you can get involved. There is exclusive content and rewards for those who do so, and funding my Patreon in any way gets your name at the end of my videos. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.